Friday the 8th of November. I'm just going in now to feed the cattle. I have the ponies as you see here behind, and I was just passing by and the ponies were looking at me and I thought, you know, that's a lovely looking picture. So I'm going to go in and do my few jobs and come back to these and I'll be back. But it's nice to be welcomed by the ponies in the mornings. I'll be back. So a little short clip of what things look like when I'm in the middle of throwing out this silage. They love to gather around, but they're super quiet. They'll pull out my way when I need them to. So that's what it's like. I'm going to keep on moving. This is my first trailer load. They've been in on this place for this is their second. There was 2 nights last night. So I'm actually, let me just wheel around, going to leave them on it another night because it's a large enough area. They have lovely shelter. They have a little place across the far side of that hedge and it's lovely and dry. So the weather has been absolutely fantastic. Now the ponies actually are more anxious for moving than the cattle at the minute, so I'm going to feed these the rest of the bale and then I'm going to throw a little bit into the ponies as well. It's lovely dry stuff, so it's ideal. It's almost like haylage. So I'm going to do that and I'll probably move them down below tomorrow. So that is the carry on. So that is a lovely sight. So I'll be back in a sec. So I have a small bit of a bale left to throw out. I'm going to go out now and get that. And as you can see now, I've just thrown a little handful there to the ponies. I'm going to give them a little bit more now and I'll come back in again. But you can notice now that they're starting to do a little bit of ploughing up here on a soft kind of a spot. Well, it shouldn't really be soft, it's very fertile there and a lot of topsoil on it. That was an area that I called a fertility hotspot, but the ponies are kind of hanging around there a lot and they have it kind of ploughed up, but I'm not too worried about it. They're going to get moved tomorrow in with the cattle there, and the cattle will be on the lower side here on another nice place both sides of a hedge. So I'm just taking advantage of the good weather. We had mighty weather this last while. It's been super mild. There's still a bit of picking coming on as well. The ponies and the cattle were in there earlier in the week and you can already see it's starting to green up. So for November this is absolutely amazing weather to have. Some people might get excited and say it's too mild, but I'm not worried about mild weather. It's cold weather that upsets me. So actually another thing that I was thinking of, I was asked in the comments there, why am I keeping so many ponies when I only have so many cattle? The fact of the matter is I actually have the ponies not to blame but to thank for ending up on this bit of a journey. I've always was a pony man. I've always had ponies, always had Connemara ponies, and it was the cattle that came in secondly. So I'm only into cattle now since 2016-17 when I started to get cattle, but I've always had ponies. So ponies would be my first love, and cattle would then come in a very, 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 very close second. So the story is, and I'll make it short, the story is we all know that ponies can really trample up ground. And there's a perfect example of it there. They're only there the last couple of days. But if you leave ponies living on land, free rein, they will make roads, they will graze the brains out of certain areas and they'll dung in other areas and they really make a pure mess. So much so that it's actually difficult to get land to rent for ponies. You'll often find when there is land up for rent, it'll say no equine or no ponies, just cattle or just sheep. So ponies they have a bad name for being hard on land. Well, I believe there's a way around that too, and it's what I'm doing here now is keeping the ponies moving just like the cattle. But the story is, the reason why I ended up with cattle was because of that reason. I found that the ponies were destroying land, and what I wanted to do is I was putting out fertilizer. I was throwing fertilizer on the ground with the ponies and trying to grow grass, and it just wasn't working out. Land was just deteriorating constantly with the ponies, so I had to do something else. So what I did first of all was to get sheep. I wanted an animal that would come along and graze down the little areas where they were dung and not touching themselves. So I wanted to mix things up a bit, and I noticed a big difference. I noticed the fertility and the grass growth starting to come back when I had the sheep. But then, as you know about sheep, they're hard to keep in, and I was starting to fall out with neighbours. They were getting out and they were all over the place. So I decided to go and get cattle. So when I got cattle, I really noticed a massive difference in the land, the way the cattle grazed differently to the ponies, and it was an absolute game changer. So after that, then I suppose I did then decide, I started to do a little bit of research. I was watching on the internet, I saw all these cool things that were going on over in America with Greg Judy and the likes of them, and I started to do a lot of studying, and started to study the soil and how things work, and I decided that I was going to start trying this regenerative farming. So I started to move my cattle, my pony number started to increase, the fertility in the ground started to improve, and year by year, the more I studied, the more I fell in love with this system. So that's why my ponies are here, and that's how I ended up on this regenerative journey. And so we're still in the middle of it all now, but I'm very excited about how things are working out. Now I'm still trying to work out and produce the correct, most adapted animal that I can get, and I believe that every year we're getting that little bit further down that road. And as you can see, there's belts starting to appear everywhere. They're definitely starting to multiply. But then I can't write off the shorthorn just yet, because every one of them belties have 50% shorthorn genetics in them as well. So yeah, that is the carry on with how I ended up at this system of farming, and how I ended up with this type of cattle. So everything, as I say, is always subject to change, and we're always trying to improve, always trying to think outside the box, and if you can change things up for the better, we'll always do it. So on this day, what is it now, the first week of November, as I say earlier in the video, I have this area here. It's a large enough area, so I'm going to take advantage of the good weather, take advantage of the hill, and take advantage of just the conditions that we have at the minute. I'm going to keep feeding them silage, but I will move them on down. I don't like to keep them any longer than 3 days in a certain area. So the ponies are anxious to move now. I've given them a little bit of silage. I'm going to give them a little bit more and then allow them in here. And the donkey will do a lot of picking inside in that hedge there. It's amazing what donkeys eat. That's different to ponies as well. So so ponies can absolutely destroy land if they're left to live on it. They definitely, even more so than cattle, need to be moved and change their habits, because they'll just dung in one area and eat another area straight down to the clay and leave you nothing but weeds. And you can get ragwort, you can get buttercups. It just gets very sour, the land, and it takes the cattle then to sweeten it up. I've definitely seen an improvement on horse-sick land when you put the cattle through. So that is it. I think I explained it fairly right. I'll look back through the video, and sure, if I don't, or if I didn't, or if I left a lot of stuff out, I can always make another video again. But them ponies there now, as you can see, they have it well ploughed up. But I'll do a little bit of driving around on that now and flatten it out with the quad. I have to take up that fence. When I'm doing that, I'll do a little bit of driving around, and I have to fence down below here now and get them sorted for tomorrow. So tomorrow's Saturday. What day is today? I can't remember what day today is. The 5th or the 6th, is it? Yeah, so that's it. I will close up now, and we'll chat it again very soon. So I'll make another little video maybe for Sunday, and we'll see you all then. So for now, I will say good luck and goodbye.